Hey everybody, what's up? It's your friend James Shaw. It is 8 o'clock on the nose. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. It is listing month. We're all about making sure you take a ton of listings. We're doing this week, it's about getting the appointment. So you got them in the pipeline, but now you got to get an appointment with them. And sometimes they're not ready. Like the second you talk to them about listing, you want to follow up, but you don't want to be pushy. Have you ever felt like that you just don't want to be pushy and annoying and obnoxious? So how do we follow up and stay in a flow with somebody without being pushy? That's our topic today. But first, something good. Adrian Bailey, hello.
Good morning, James. Thank you for letting me share. Today is a very special day. I have not shared it only with a few people. My mother had a stroke May 8th, and today she gets to go home from rehab. So that is a huge blessing to my family. It's been a very interesting month. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being patient. And for those of you who have checked on me and my family, thank you.
Glad she's coming home. That's great news, Adrian. Thanks for sharing that with us. Rhett Campbell, good morning.
Good morning, James. I wanted to kind of give a formal introduction to a very special person. This is my cousin in Huntsville, Alabama, Miss Kelly Campbell. She's on the call this morning. We went back and forth several times before she got her license. She does have it now. She's passed her test, called me the other day. She was super excited. Told her she needed to post that on social media and did a great job in doing that. And then I left her with, I said, Kelly, if I could only give you one piece of advice that I think that you would flourish from the most would be to invest in this call every morning in the Inspired group. And she's plugged in and ready to go. So if everybody could give Kelly a warm
That's
welcome,
great.
we're super excited to have her on
Kelly,
board.
we're glad you're here. I just have one question for Kelly. One question for Kelly. What's it like being Rhett Campbell's cousin? What is it like being Rhett Campbell's cousin?
It's hard.
He
No,
is inspiring you and chasing you and wanting you to succeed. Is that the truth?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, he definitely is. I'm excited for this journey and can't wait to get started.
we're glad you're here. Thank you so much. Brittany, you get the last one. Sorry, I can't get to everybody. If I didn't get to you, put it in the chat this morning. But Brittany, you get the last one. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm actually at Bucky's today because we, with my mom, are doing a bucket list right now. We are going to, in a second, sorry. We're heading to Laurel right now to go see the hometown houses and the whole city of Laurel. And that's been something that we wanted to do for a long time. And we're finally getting to do it together because, life by design. So, I don't know.
There you
So,
go.
yeah,
Have a good
yeah.
time. Have a
Thank
good time.
you.
All right, let's get after it this morning. So we've been focused on taking more listings, right? The bottom line is we want to build our listing inventory because you're just going to need more listings likely right now to hit your goal, and you can't have too many of them. And so we've broken it down into the kind of the 5 steps, and then the 5 weeks in June we are spending focused on that. This week we are getting the appointment. Last week it was about filling the pipeline, getting the lead. This week all about getting the appointment. And so today I want to look at the seller who's in your pipeline, but they're not quite ready, and you want to stay in touch and stay in flow with them, but you don't want to be annoying or pushy or I don't know, obnoxious. Is that a fear anybody has? Put it in the chat. Is that something that you get worried about? That what's the right rhythm to check in with someone who's in the pipeline and wants to sell, but we're not quite sure of the rhythm? And instead, what if we see? I think sometimes we approach it as a salesperson as opposed to a consultant. If you're a consultant or you're here to help, maybe you're less concerned about sounding pushy or salesy. But if you're a salesperson desperate for listings, you might sound a little bit pushy or salesy. And so then, what's the right kind of flow to be in? Is it, because I feel like the worst one is just checking in. What if you're educational or insightful or about building connection over just checking in? Like if you're sharing, we shared an article yesterday on our call. What if you sent that article along with some perspective around the article to everybody that's in your pipeline? I think you can look at it in kind of 4 ways. You can be an informer, a connector, a reminder, or a check-in-er. The informer sends helpful updates about the market, about inventory, about interest rates, and how it might impact their opportunity to sell. The connector is the one who is helping them find the people that they need to get the house ready, the right vendors, the right support network around it. The reminder, this is where you can be funny. Are you still thinking about doing that? You still wanting to move? And the check-in is no pressure. I'm just keeping you in the loop. Here's some opportunity. But think about, who you are. Do you have a system and a rhythm and a cadence to your follow-up? So that are you sending a text every week? Are you doing a bi-weekly email? Are you calling them once a month? What's your system to check in based on where they are? What are the common phrases or scripts or conversations you're using? Again, I think if you're sending an article, hey, I thought it would be helpful if you saw this. Here's how I think it might impact you. But just really getting into a flow. Tulio, I know you have a pipeline full of stuff. So what's the right rhythm to follow up with the potential seller down the line?
Well, the first thing that I think everyone should do is take out their pen and write the word pushy down and scribble it out and change it to pulley. Okay, because when we make these calls, we're pulling the people to us. Quit thinking that you're pushing people away. All right, you're convincing yourself out of the call before you even made it when you think that way. So that's the number one thing that I want to say. Beyond that, with me, it's new information, and it's things like you taught us before, James. The last time we spoke, you mentioned this, and I was thinking about that, and I did a little research for you, and I saw how another home was sold. It might be in another city, and they use this technique to get it sold. Does that possibly alleviate your concern? We could try the same thing. And then 2 days later, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about your house. I was thinking about the challenge in selling it with the solar panels that aren't paid off. This is how someone else did it. And by dripping on them, that's how I've won listings where I was competing over a series of days. That's my share.
Great perspective, Tulio. Thank you so much. Scott, good morning.
Good morning from the surface of the sun. How's everybody doing? I am I've been called pushy before. I don't care about that. If someone's in my pipeline, I'm going to follow up with you and I'm going to set the rhythm, but I'm going to tell you that we're going to be in contact at least twice a week until, up until we have the house sold. So that's just kind of where I am. I will call you every Monday and every Friday, and I'll give you interesting days. So, example, on Monday this week, there's this listing that I'm looking at. I called her up and I was like, "Hey, I have another listing in your area. I know you have a son that lives at home. Does he want a studio apartment? That sort of stuff." So it's just adding those values.
That's good. Thank you, Dan. Good morning.
Good morning. What I do with my clients that are in a position to sell, I update them every Monday with the last 7 days in Central New Jersey real estate. I update them once a month with the market activity report for the town that they live in and also the town they're moving to. Now, it's a perfect timing with this message here. My coach just challenged me to pick out 5 clients that you're working with that are looking to sell, but they're on the fence. And we came up with this, 18 months from now. And, okay, no one has a crystal ball, but the numbers today are worth paying attention to. Properties in strong school districts continue to command high demand. This is one of my clients. While rates might fluctuate, the cost of waiting could mean less buying power or fewer options. And then the right move now could set your family up with both a great school and a home that appreciates with time.
Okay, so you're doing this on, what'd you say, on Mondays they get this report?
No, well, they get the last 7 days in Central New Jersey real estate.
On Mondays.
Yes.
Is that by email? Are you texting it to them? How do they get it?
It's a combination of both.
Okay. But that's a rhythm. So it doesn't really matter where they are in the pipeline. Every week they're getting an update.
Yes.
And I imagine you've had occasionally someone maybe move their time frame up based on what's happened or stick with it, but at least they're educated about what's going on in the market once you sit down with them.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Jolene, good morning.
Good morning. So I end up with a lot of these seller leads that are several years old. And what I like to do is a couple of things that we learn here on this call is the annual equity analysis. So I do that every January. And then I do a mid-year review with those that I feel like might need a little bit more of that touch point. If they're a little shorter on the time frame, then I'll do that quarterly. And I like to go to RPR. And do like that market update, and you can do the AI generated scripting and then rewrite it and make it your own, make it in your own voice. But it
Mhm.
really gives an idea of what's going on locally in the market. And you never know when you're going to touch the person where life circumstances causes them to be ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. But you're staying in flow with them. We can't ignore them. We can't just let them sit in the pipeline. We got to find some way to add value to them and stay in a flow. Jolie, thank you so much. Angela, you're next. Good morning.
Good morning. I have two buyers in this situation, or two sellers, and one I just kept touching base, and he said, "You're going to sell my house when I find the right rental. Downsizing, just doesn't want a house." The other guy went totally MIA, and but he's got 5 houses he wants me to sell. So I'm trying to stay close, has a divorce situation and all. But one thing that helps me is I put all my buyers that I collect off open houses on this type of sheet. That way I can always check back to see, oh, did I call them? When was the last time? Even though I do DTD, this really helps. And I also having it under listings so that no one can be dropped, get lost in my papers or in my computer, as well as Friday follow-up. FF, always Friday follow-up. If they haven't heard from me, they're going to get something from me on a Friday. A text, a call, a link. If there's something new in their area that's come up, I just send that and say, hey, want to keep you posted in your neighborhood, what's going on from MLS.
That's really good. I like the sheets. I like the paper. When I interviewed Kathy Russell a while back, and she's the person who got me in real estate. She's a Spire member and she's a legend in the industry, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Been the #1 agent in her market for like 50 years. And she uses paper to track. But what I'm thinking of with yours is if you're keeping a list of your buyers and what they're looking for, and you have a list of your future sellers and what they're planning to sell. Angela,
Yes.
there are absolutely times that you're looking at this buyer list and going, oh my gosh, I have this person, they don't want to list until September, but gosh, this house would be perfect for them. And you can just reach out direct to that seller because you've got it right in front of you. It's got to overlap sometimes.
Yes. And it's great in the car. If I'm driving by and I've forgotten about them, I'm like, oh, I can just call them and tell them just passing our favorite coffee place
Yeah,
or
that's great.
passing this, just saying hi.
I know Cindy's going to have a good answer too. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning. You know how I am with letters. So once I finish the listing, I send, if they're not ready at that moment, I take a picture as I'm pulling out of the driveway of their house. And I do this every time. And then I send a card with that picture on it to them because they won't throw it away because it's a picture of their house. And if I used to use like a Zillow one and they'd say, where did you find this picture? It's so old. So I take a picture of their house when I'm leaving. And then I send them and say, it was really nice to meet you. And I know that you said you have names of carpet people, but if you ever need anything, let me know. And then the next time I follow up with them, because at the appointment, I always make a next step. And so when that next step is up, so I say, so would it be okay if I follow up with you in 2 weeks just to see how you are progressing with your paint and the carpet and all that? And yes, it is. So then I call to that date and say, hey, it's Cindy again. I told you I'd call you on the 13th. It's the 13th. Just checking in to see how you're doing. And until I get, every time when I hang up, I make another appointment. But the card for them is usually the selling point. My ISA said they love the card from you. They're going with you. So I think that just that following up and making a next step for them of scheduled time is the most important for me.
You have a follow-up plan, know what's going to happen next, stay in a flow. Cindy, thank you. How many homes have you listed this year?
87.
There you go. Do what she says. Dawn, you're next. Good morning.
Good morning. What helps me is sharing a short success story. So if I have a seller that I've been talking to for a while and for whatever reason they're not ready, I just share with them, a recent seller that I had with this similar home as yours, similar situation, and this is how we got them top dollar and sold their home. So I think stories help.
Stories do help. Gary talks about it in Shift about leveraging stories, both of buyers and sellers. He talks specifically about buyers in the book, but it would work for buyers and sellers. of people who listed and took your advice and got what they wanted and were able to pull it off. Buyers who didn't think they could buy and could, but leveraging those stories in some way to be able to help you. Because it could be this person really wants to sell, but for whatever reason, they don't think it's the market's bad for them or the right timing for them. But truly their motivation means they should, but they're dragging, and just with a little bit of help, they can get into action. Dawn, thank you. That was really good. Latoya, good morning.
Good morning. So this is right on time. I just had this conversation yesterday with my coach because I fear being pushy. And
I think it's a common fear people have, Latoya.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So what my coach and I talked about is kind of what Scott and Cindy have shared. Set the next appointment when you're talking. So you're setting the expectation, and you don't have to feel weird when you're following up with them, because they already know that you're going to call them. You set this appointment. And also, if you're going to be the connector, actually connect the lead and the professional together. Ask for permission to set that up, instead of giving them the information and hoping that they use it, and then feeling weird when you follow up with them to see if they used it.
Being an actual connector.
Correct.
Latoya,
be the
thank
physical connector. Yeah.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Meg Dady, good morning.
Morning. So I love this topic because it's really been challenging this year. A lot of people have, a lot of my database are upsizers. They don't have a ton of motivation to move. But what I started noticing that Jenny talked about on Monday is a lot of the people who are selling are either moving out of state or getting divorced. But then the other trend is a lot of them bought in 2020 and now have 2 kids, and they're completely out of space. They're probably like 2 years beyond when they would have otherwise moved. And our inventory is still really low. So it's like more a matter of everything we're talking about, just staying in contact, to be the person that when they're starting to feel a little bit closer and like there's a little bit more inventory to choose from, they can, actually do something. So I really love using Loom, which is just like a quick video screen share, and it creates a link so that you can text them the link. And I'm definitely guilty of always saying like, hey, just checking in, how are things going? And I'm trying to get better at Phil Jones, exactly what to say language, and incorporate that in those kind of like touches. So using, in this case, like opening fact question, and basically saying, hey, James, I know there's a lot of headlines about the real estate market right now, but I bet you're a bit like me and curious about what's actually happening in your neighborhood. And then I just input the link to the Loom with a 2-minute video, literally showing the graph in 2020, the value is 400. In 2025, it's 500. So not everyone watches them, but
yeah, but
I feel like it's something
you're keeping
of
stuff
value.
in flow and following up with the pipeline. And that particular seller, while they are ahead right now, in a year they may not be.
Right.
Your inventory is still tight. Your market is still moving quickly. But a lot of the country is slowing down. That's going to happen there too eventually. So this could be that time that if they are running out of space, they might want to take advantage. Of course, the market you buy in is the market you sell in, or the market you sell in is the market you buy in too. So there's, they get, who knows? It's a
inventory is opening up, and so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, sell now so that you get the most money, and you're going to have opportunities on the buy side.
And then if you're going to stay there for a while, who cares what it's worth in 2 years? If you're going to stay there for a long time, Meg, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Tyler. Good morning.
Good morning. So having an introductory conversation with people who have said that they're somewhat interested is the most vitally important part. Understanding their perspective and what their underlying motivation is and what's causing them to wait. Understanding that motivation is the key factor. And when they say, hey, I'm 6 months or a year out because I'm going to do a new build or I'm planning on relocating to this area, we have that conversation and ask their permission to provide them with great information. And so I sign them up for 3 different things. One is our weekly newsletter that goes out every week that just keeps them updated on things going in the community and is branding so that we're always in their face. Like Tulio had said, say no to crack and don't let individuals fall through the cracks. The second thing we sign them up for is a MLS automated email for homes that are just like theirs that went under contract or sold in today's market. So they can see comparables in real time. And if the prices of homes that are coming on the market going under contract like theirs meet their needs, then it may motivate them. The third thing I do is sign them up for a buyer search in command. To where, hey, what are you looking for? Are you looking for farmland? Are you looking for a like downsize, right size? And we put that in command. The reason we do this differently is because there's three different things they can, but they don't unsubscribe from all three at once. If we do all three of those in the MLS, or if we do two of them, the buyer search and the seller search in the MLS, if they
one
unsubscribe,
unsubscribe and they're out.
right, one unsubscribe, they're out. If I sign them up in command for a buyer search, here's the thing. If they change their location of where they're interested in, and I've had them do this before, they're thinking about moving to Florida and all of a sudden they're looking at homes in Arizona, command will let me know that.
Yeah.
Wherever they are in the country.
That's great.
And so that's how we follow up and stay in contact with those. And there's nothing that motivates people more than finding the house that they wish to buy.
Yep. 100%. Tyler, thank you. We had time for one more. Irene, you get the last word.
Goodness, almost missed my opportunity. Thank you so much. Good morning from Toronto, James. Cindy, thank you for the reminder of snapping the photo of the house after the listing appointment. Dawn, thank you for the little tweak reminder of sending people their specific story. We do success stories with our database, but I love the idea of finding a specific success story of a similar home and sending to the people individually. So thank you very much for that. Much like Jolie and Dan mentioned, stats. For us in Toronto, our market is massive and we cannot realistically and beneficially create any sort of automated drips because it doesn't make sense. Our neighborhoods, we just have too many neighborhoods. So in our MLS, we can set up geographically by, like I can actually take a few blocks if it makes up a specific neighborhood. And then I manually monitor those. So I look at the listings every morning and I look at the sales, and whatever I send them is very, very targeted and specific to them. So they know it's personalized and not a mass email.
Perfect. This is good. This is a great call today. I hope you're enjoying this. Tomorrow we're going to do your pre-listing system. Like what email are you sending? What's your text system? What are you doing to bridge the time between when you scheduled the appointment and when you went on it, and how you're preparing them? That's what we'll talk about tomorrow. Today at 2 o'clock Eastern, free call with Dee Hudson. Listen, I'm telling you, 10 listings in one appointment. And it's a simple system, and she's going to teach it today at 2 o'clock Eastern. Link is in the chat. Wednesday webinar.jamesdshaw.com. We'll chat for like 20 minutes. It's free and open to everybody. And so I hope you'll join us and learn something about her seller seminar system that literally got her 10 listings from one appointment. 2 o'clock Eastern today. So we'll see you there. Thanks for being here. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, James.